In this particular lecture, we're going to talk about production function. Everything related to production is very important topic, so kindly concentrate fully throughout the lecture. All right. So the first topic under production function is what exactly is production function. We'll understand. Yes. So let's say Q defines output, and it's a function of various inputs. The inputs defined by capital, labor, etc., etc. All right. So that's how production function is actually defined. And if I write what is marginal productivity, you must have studied in 12th standard as well. What's marginal productivity? It is the change in output with respect to change in the level of, yes, input. Say input defined by, right. Now I move on to explain just marginal productivity. We can write marginal physical productivity of capital, marginal product of capital as change in output due to change in the capital, and marginal product of labor as the change in output due to change in labor. So that's how marginal product of labor is defined. That's how marginal product of capital is defined. Alright. So some properties of marginal productivity you must have studied. Usual shape production function, we say marginal productivity first order derivation. When we just talk about additional productivity, it is positive number. But if we take further differentiation of marginal productivity, which means if I change marginal productivity of capital with respect to further change in capital, then what exactly it means is, how is it that marginal productivity of capital is changing, or as at what rate is marginal productivity changing with respect to the change in capital. This is defined as rate of change in marginal productivity with respect to change in capital. So, or I can say in mathematical term, I can say state it like FKK with respect to change in capital. What is the change in marginal productivity? This number is a usual in a usual shape production function, which is a convex shape production function. This is a negative value. So as I increase additional unit of capital, the marginal productivity at every additional unit of the capital, the marginal productivity of the capital keeps on declining. Similarly, FLL, which shows the rate of change in labor, rate of change in marginal productivity with respect to the change in labor. So FLL is also negative. So this shows that the property of marginal productivity that we are discussing here is that we have diminishing marginal productivity, due to which we have seen FLL is negative and FKK is also negative. Okay, this is the second order derivation of production function with respect to capital and with respect to labor. Next concept is average productivity. You must have studied what is average productivity. It's simply total output upon the input. So if we talk about average productivity of labor, then it is total output with respect to total unit of labor. Average product of capital, it's simply total output over unit of capital. That's how average product is defined. Now let me take a production function and we'll compute the optimum level of production. Suppose the production function I'm taking as 600 k square L square minus k cube L cube. Alright. Now in this production function, let me assume capital is given constant at 10 unit. So we can compute, put the value of 10 and we get production function as 60,000 L square minus 1000 L cube. Alright. Now first order derivation, if we compute from this production function, we get marginal product of labor. So compute marginal product of labor. If you compute marginal product of labor, first order derivation, this becomes dq by dl. If you compute here to optimize output here, now given this production function, if I want to choose what is my optimum level of L, okay, for that first order derivation we can compute by computing marginal product of labor and put it equal to 0, and we'll get an optimum L star and check what is FLL, which is second order derivation of the output with respect to the labor. Okay, so just compute this value L star. So take first order derivation, which is marginal product of labor. This will come up as 1,20,000 L minus 3,000 L square equals to 0. Compute this optimum L star, you will get to be equal to 40. Alright, so we get an optimum level of L star. Now if you find what is my average product in this function, just like marginal product we have computed, we can apply the function of average product here. Average product is simply total quantity upon labor. So just put the value divided by labor. What do we get? 60,000 L minus 1,000 L square. Alright, so okay, now given this, you must have studied in your 12th standard that how average product, marginal product, all of it is related. Suppose I plot here total product, average product and marginal product. Here I plot the quantity. Must have studied this property that total product, it increases at diminishing rate and then it falls like this. This is the property of marginal product. Marginal product increases and then it falls. Average product also starts from 0, but it's maximum at the point where it's equal to marginal product, after which average product starts to decline but it remains positive. However, marginal product tends to go beyond x-axis and it goes negative after a point. Alright, so average product, if I want to find out, I compute it like this, and that's how we can solve a particular question. Next, I move on to isocont map and the rate of technical substitution. Let's understand what exactly is isocont. Right. So just like indifference curve, which is plotted in case of consumer's theory when we have two goods space, now here isocont is plotted in case of two input space. So suppose I have labor here, capital here, isocont is plotted in the space of inputs. So suppose my production function is like this. Output is a function of capital and labor and it's defined, it's equal to Q naught, a given level of output. So there could be several combination of capital and labor such that I am producing a given level of output. Now a usual shape isocont is a convex shape isocont across which we are producing a given level of output, which means that with any combination of capital and labor I am producing a given level of output here. Now if I increase the unit of capital and labor, that means both the unit of capital and labor are increased, the output also increases to another level, which is a higher level of output here. That's how we understand these are different level of isocont. Now if I keep on plotting such isocont, this is some other level of output. So when I have set of isocont, this is called as isocont map. Okay. Okay. A related concept to isocont is rate of technical substitution. Now what is exactly the logic behind marginal rate of technical substitution? Just like marginal rate of substitution that we discussed in consumer's theory, which was the slope of indifference curve itself, here marginal rate of technical substitution, it is the slope of isocont. So it shows, I am writing down what definition it is. It shows the rate at which labor can be substituted for capital while holding output constant along a given isocont. So along a given isocont that we just plotted here, so along a given isocont, it is a rate which gives us the rate at which the labor can be substituted for capital while holding the output constant. So what is the rate at which I am moving across the two given points on an isocont? Is given my marginal rate of technical substitution. Okay, so which means that rate of technical substitution, I can say it is the change, negative change in capital with respect to change in labor, which is exactly the slope of isocont. So since if dk is falling, dl is rising, so I have put a negative sign here to denote this is just the slope of isocont. Alright, now let's compute the value of marginal rate of technical substitution. How do we do that? So we have a production function like this, Q naught equals to f of KL. Now if I take the total differentiation of this equation, what do we get? This becomes 0. Total differentiation I am taking. Okay, so d, or I'll just write first step, it would be dq0 f dash k dk plus f dash l dl. So since it's a constant number, along a given isocont our output is given and it's constant, so I take this, I can put it equal to 0, and this becomes f dash k dk plus f dash l dl. Rearrange this equation, and to compute the slope we want to compute dk by dl. This becomes minus f dash l by f dash k. Now what is this? Minus of marginal product of labor upon marginal product of capital. So remember this thing, minus marginal product of labor upon marginal product of capital is defined as rate of technical substitution. So I hope this concept is clear. Now in addition to it, the rate of technical substitution we have computed. If you take the second order derivation of it, d square ky d square l, this will be negative in this case where isocont is convex in nature. This is also understood by the curvature of the curve itself, that the rate at which initially I am willing to give up more unit of capital for an additional unit of labor, but now as my capital itself is declining, I am willing to give up less unit of capital for an additional unit of labor. My willingness to give up unit of capital will actually decline, and therefore we have diminishing rate of technical substitution. So rate of technical substitution measures at what rate am I substituting capital for labor, but in a convex shape isocont we can see that the rate at which I am decreasing, I am actually substituting capital for labor, this rate is keep on declining with every unit of substitution that I am making. Okay, now if mathematically I have to compute this, we can do that. So with dk by dl that we had computed, it was equals to minus f dash l by f dash k. Now take the second order derivation of it, which means I am computing derivation of this with respect to l, right? So that's how I come to know what is exactly the sign. Mathematically we are checking, graphically we have understood this sign is actually negative because it's diminishing marginal rate of substitution, but mathematically let's also compute. So derivation of marginal rate of technical substitution with respect to labor. Now if you derivate it, put the mathematical formula here and you will get this expression, fk times fll plus flk dk by dl minus fl times fkl plus fkk dk by dl, alright, divided by fk whole square. So the denominator is definitely positive. Let's do some kind of substitution here. dk by dl I can substitute it by minus fl by fk, and there is a concept called Young's theorem. In mathematics you must have studied Young's theorem, according to which what formula applies here, flk equals to fkl, which means the second order derivation of marginal product of labor with respect to capital is equal to second order derivation of marginal product of capital with respect to labor. Now if you just substitute all these values here, FKL if I replace by FLK, these terms will be equal. DK by DL if you replace by this terminology, what is it that you will get in the end? Change in RTS with respect to change in labor, you'll get this equation. This is FK square FLL minus 2 FK FL FKL plus FL square FKK upon FK whole cube. Okay, we want to check if this value is negative or positive. Okay, so this terminology we'll check for each and every item here. So first terminology we know FLL is negative, right? Now FKL is positive, FK is positive, FL is positive, and minus is there, so this term is also negative, this term is negative. The third term, what about third term? Here we have positive FKK, and this term FKK is also negative, right? We just discussed that. So the entire numerator term is actually negative here, which indicates that mathematical expression also shows that there is a diminishing marginal rate of technical substitution in this particular case. Alright, next I move on to explain another concept, which is the returns to scale. I hope I am able to make myself clear in all these concepts so far. You must be having some understanding of what return to scale is. So I'll just introduce what this terminology is. Suppose FKL equals to output is defined, and if I change capital and labor in T proportion, okay, I am increasing capital and labor in T proportion, so it becomes TK TL. Now inputs are increased in this proportion, and if it happens to be the case that my output is also increased, this is output FKL, this is also increased by T proportion, which makes it T times FKL. In that case, if output is changed by same proportion in the proportion of capital and labor, so we can call it constant returns to scale. Okay, next concept here, if I change input capital and labor by T proportion, but if happens to be the case that the change in capital and labor leads me to this output with respect to change in capital and labor, this is greater than T times FKL. So this T times FKL was equal to T times Q. So if the inputs are increased in T proportion, but the actual increase in output is much larger, then it would have led to a change in case of constant returns to scale. In this case, if output is increasing much larger, then we say it's the case of increasing returns to scale. However, if it happens to be the case that f function with respect to TK, TL, if this value is less than T proportion of the change in capital and labor, which is equals to TQ. So compared to the constant returns, here the change in output is much less. This denotes the case of decreasing returns to scale. So this is the concept behind decreasing, increasing and constant returns to scale. Alright. So next we'll discuss homothetic production function. What is a homothetic production function? So basically, if I have isocont map, labor and capital here, right? If I have different level of isoconts and giving me different level of output, say equals to 1, equals to 2, equals to 3, these denotes isocont map, right? It could be the case that they are increasing returns to scale, diminishing returns to scale, or constant returns to scale, right? But no matter what, if it is the case that if I pass a line from origin, right, then it's going to be the case that if isocont is just crossing across this particular line from origin just exactly once, we say the production function exhibits the property of homothetic production function. So even if we have increasing returns to scale here, or we have diminishing returns to scale here, or constant returns to scale here, all the kind of returns to scale will exhibit the property of homothetic production function. So it need not be the case that it necessarily should be having a constant returns to scale. So along any ray through origin, if the slope of successive isocont are actually identical, so at every isocont, if here I find the slope is identical, this is an added property of homothetic function, take a point from origin and cut it across all the isocont and just check the slope of isocont at the point where it's intersecting. Okay, so at this point, if you find the slope is same, here can we say the slope is actually same at the point of crossing of this ray of line through isocont. If it happens to be the case, in that case we say it exhibits the property of homothetic production function. Now constant returns to scale or increasing this kind of a production function, if we have, so this correspond to diminishing returns to scale, because here we have to increase capital and labor by a higher amount, and then only we are able to increase output, say by double. So I am increasing capital and labor by 3 times, but output is increasing just by double. So it shows the case of diminishing returns to scale. But even if I have a situation where the line is passing through origin and at the point of intersection, I can say that the slope of the isocont, if it is same, still it is having the property of homothetic production function. So remember this thing, important property of homothetic production function. Next, I'll move on to another concept of elasticity of substitution. Okay, so elasticity of substitution, remember this thing, it is defined as a concept. Say sigma is a denotation of elasticity of substitution. Since in your reading this denotation is given, so I am taking the same denotation here. It is defined as the ratio of percentage change in K by L ratio upon percentage change in rate of technical substitution along a given isocont. So I can expand this and write percentage change in K by L can be written as dK by L upon K by L. This can be written as d RTS, change in RTS with respect to rate of technical substitution. Alright, now rate of technical substitution, I can replace it by value of FL by FK, margin product of labor by margin product of capital, right? And I can rewrite this equation as d log K by L upon d log RTS. This is another formula for the elasticity of substitution. D log K by L upon d log rate of substitution. So remember this thing. Now an important catch about elasticity of substitution is that so as K by L is changing, we will check whether elasticity of substitution will be higher or lower. Okay, so let's plot the isocont curve. So Q equals to Q naught here, and here it is labor. This is for capital, and this is origin. So suppose there is this one point A and this another point B on the isocont, and I have RTS along point A. Say I write here rate of substitution as I move along this isocont at point A. This is RTS. This is RTS along point B, right? So can I say that compared to this point and this point, as I move from A to B, the K by L ratio is declining or rising? Think about it. So K by L initially, so K by L. So here how do we check? K ratio by L. This is higher compared to B by L. So can I say as I move from A to B point, K by L ratio is declining. So definitely K by L ratio is declining. And what is it with respect to the rate of substitution? So this we have discussed already, that the rate of substitution in a convex shape isocont, it is decreasing. So RTS is also decreasing. So both are decreasing. Can we say as the K by L ratio is changing, whether it's going up, then RTS is going up. If it is declining, K by L is declining, RTS is also declining. So what can we infer about elasticity of substitution? That it's always a positive value in case of convex shape isocont. So remember this thing. Alright. Next I will explain to you different kind of production function corresponding to which we will have different kind of elasticity of substitution. So I hope this concept is clear so far. Okay. First case we have linear production function. So which means suppose I have capital labor here and isocont I have, it's a straight line with giving me a given level of output. Okay, in this case we want to understand what is the value of elasticity of substitution, which is percentage change in K by L with respect to percentage change in RTS. Now think about a case that here rate of substitution will be what? Let me write down the production function first, and it will be more easier for you to infer. So Q is a function of capital and labor. I can suppose write it like this: alpha K plus beta L. Alpha and beta are just parameters, and this denotes it's a constant slope isocont. So this can represent isocont of a constant function. Alright. Now we want to check what is RTS of this. Can you compute RTS? RTS, how do we compute? It's the ratio of marginal product of labor by marginal product of capital. Now this RTS here is actually a constant number. Since it's a constant number, minus beta by L by alpha, so it's a constant number. So if it is a constant number, then percentage change of a constant number is actually 0. There is no percentage change in the constant number. If the denominator is 0, then elasticity of substitution becomes infinity. So simply for a linear function, elasticity of substitution value is infinity. Remember this thing. Okay. I hope this concept of linear production function is clear. In here, elasticity of substitution is infinite in nature. Next case we will take of fixed proportion. Second case is fixed proportion. Yeah. So here let me write down the production function, and you think in the meantime what could be a elasticity of substitution here. Percentage change in RTS. Alright. So here what will happen? Now let me write down the production function. It can be written like this. It's a minimum function of say alpha K comma beta L. So at minimum alpha K equals to beta L. Okay. So what can I say? Along a point of optimality here, K by L is not changing. So K by L we have computed in this at the point of minimum. K by L equals to beta by alpha. It's a constant number. So percentage change in a constant number is 0. That means my numerator is 0, and hence elasticity of substitution is equal to 0 in case of fixed proportion. So remember this thing, in case of fixed proportion, that's how we compute that the variable here, elasticity of substitution, the value will be 0. That's how we compute it. Okay. Next, I will be discussing Cobb-Douglas function. Again, very important part. Cobb-Douglas production function. Suppose output is written like this: f k l. This is equals to a k power alpha l power beta. So if I take logarithm of the entire equation, it becomes log q equals to log a. This is clear that this is a Cobb-Douglas function. That's how we write it, and a is just a technological parameter. So let me take the logarithm throughout. So it becomes log a plus alpha log k plus beta log l. Right? Now this is my equation. If I want to compute the elasticity of substitution, which is percentage change in k by l upon percentage change in RTS, or I can just write d log k by l upon d log RTS. This is what I want to compute. Now for that, here let me compute RTS. So returns to scale, how do we compute? Compute FL, compute FK. By computing these two numbers, you will get, so from here directly I can compute FL, marginal product of labor, marginal product of capital. This value will come out to be beta by alpha k upon L. Okay, this will be the RTS, beta by alpha times k by L. Now if I want to have log of RTS in this denominator. So I have RTS, you take the log of it. Log RTS, what do we have? Just take the log of RTS. This value becomes log beta by alpha plus log k by L. So I am replacing it here. This becomes log RTS equals to log beta by alpha plus log k by L. Okay. Now given this log this plus log k by L, by differentiating log k by log RTS and log k by L, if you differentiate it and try to compute this value, d log k by L upon d log RTS, if you differentiate this in the denominator, what do you get? It becomes 0, and this becomes simply d log k by L. So denominator and numerator we have d log k by L, which is equals to 1. So that's how we are getting that elasticity of substitution for a Cobb-Douglas function, it is equal to 1. So that's how we compute it for a Cobb-Douglas function. Remember this thing. Okay. Next I will move on to fourth case of CES, constant elasticity substitution production function. Again an important type of production function. It's called constant elasticity of substitution production function. Okay. Now the definition, how is it actually given? So function is given like this: k power some row constant number plus L labor power rows. The power here is same. Try to remember this formula. In fact, whole power some gamma another constant upon row. So this row throughout is same, and this is some other parameter gamma upon row. Okay, we want to check what is my elasticity of substitution here, and how do we compute that? First compute RTS, rate of substitution. Here compute, so you compute FL by FK. By this computation in this particular formula, I am writing down the answer. Try to compute it. FL by FK, very simply just take out the derivation of output with respect to labor and output with respect to capital. Now by solving this, you will get FL by FK equals to k by L whole power 1 minus rho. Okay, after computing this, we want to compute d log k by L upon d log RTS for elasticity of substitution. Now to compute d log RTS, just take the log of it and and what do we get? Take the log of it, it becomes 1 minus rho. So this equation, if I have to compute, this becomes log RTS equals to 1 minus rho times log K by L, and d log RTS becomes 1 minus rho times d log K by L. So here I can replace it by d log K by L upon 1 minus rho times log K by L. So this values get cancelled. What are we left with? Elasticity of substitution, it's equal to 1 upon 1 minus rho. So that's the answer in case of CES production function. This is the value of elasticity of substitution. Okay, now I'll just quickly write down this formula again and try to tell you if there could be certain examples related to it. Suppose this kind of a production function is given, K plus L plus 2 root KL, and you have to compute the elasticity of substitution for this kind of a production function. It may not seem so easy at one go that how do you go about it, but at the same time it's very simple to compute it by just applying some logic here. This exactly formula is a formula of root K plus root L whole square, and this kind of a equation, root K plus root L whole square, it relates to the constant elasticity of substitution, where I can say rho equals to half, rho value equals to half, and gamma equals to 1. So if gamma is 1, rho equals to half, the power here gamma by rho becomes 2. So given this, I know I have just computed elasticity of substitution in case of CES production function. This is exactly the same equation. So I can compute elasticity of substitution in case of this kind of a formula directly, that this is equal to 1 upon 1 minus rho, and rho is half. Now if I put the value of half here, it becomes 1 upon half. So reverse of it, elasticity of substitution value is 2 in this case. Just put the value here, rho equal to half, and put this value and you get elasticity of substitution, sigma value as 2. So it's very simple way of computing. Alright. So I hope these 4 types of production function, first we discussed was linear, second was minimum function, fixed proportion function, third was Cobb-Douglas, and fourth was CES production function. All of it is pretty much clear, and the elasticity of substitution corresponding to it. Last part here is in terms of technical progress. So graphically, how do we understand technical progress? Suppose labor mentioned here, capital here, and I have an isocont here giving me a given level of output. Alright. Now if technical progress is happening, that means there is some better technology due to which I am able to produce a higher output, the Q1 higher output with low unit of capital, or I can say same output is being produced with less capital and labor. Now then I can say the technical progress is happening because I need to use less unit of my capital and labor to produce the same level of output. So due to the technical progress, our production function will actually move downward or upward direction. Think about it, it's actually going to decrease, move in a downward direction. Why? I need to produce same output with less unit of capital and labor now. Earlier I needed more unit of capital and labor. Now to produce the same output I need to use less unit of capital and labor, and hence the technical progress is happening here. Now let's have a mathematical expression of the technical progress, and this will complete the chapter on the production according to the reading. So growth accounting concept is there. Let's say the total output is defined as this. So AT, which defines the technical progress function, times FKL. Alright. Now what we do for growth accounting, we take the differentiation of this equation with respect to time. So it becomes dq by dt plus dA by dt, this as it is FKL, plus as it is differentiation of FKL with respect to time. Okay, so next equation, if I rearrange it, what do we get? I can write FKL as Q by A. So I just replace dA by dt as Q by A. Okay, next step here. So A can be written as Q by FKL. So I am writing here Q upon FKL. In bracket, I have differentiation of FKT with respect to T. I can further differentiate it. I can write dF by dk with respect to k I am differentiating, then k ka differentiation with respect to T plus dF by dL times dL by dt. So now I hope this equation is clear. Now next step is I can write here, I divide the entire equation by q. Okay, so I have here dq by dt upon q. This is equals to dA by dt times 1 by a. Then q get cancelled. Next step is I write down here df with respect to dk times, so k I am writing in denominator and the numerator at the same time, k upon fkl, and q, say if I am dividing, q will get cancelled here, so this becomes k upon fkl times dk by dt upon k, because k is in multiplication on both the sides, so I have just introduced the term on denominator as well as in the numerator. Similarly, for the last term, I can write df by dl times upon by fkl times dl by dt upon l. Just check by solving, this is what you will get as an equation. Okay, now what is this? dq by dt with respect to q. It's simply the growth rate of the output. This is the equation of growth rate of output. This is equal to, what is this equation? This is the growth rate of technology, right? Now this, in addition, I can write this equation as this, df by dk times k upon fkl. I'll just explain what this term is, times, what is this term? Change in k with respect to t divided by k. It is the growth rate of capital, plus last term is df by dk dl upon 1 upon fkl times growth rate of, so here I have L, times growth rate of labor. Okay, so up till here I hope it is clear. The last equation, I hope it's clear. Now I will just write the final equation of after it. What is this terminology that we have got? df by dk times k upon fkl. It's simply the elasticity of output. It represents elasticity of output with respect to capital. So if you compute percentage change in output with respect to percentage change in capital, percentage change in output with respect to percentage change in capital, we are going to get this as an answer. So I can just rewrite this as elasticity of output with respect to capital. And similarly, the other term which we have df by dl times L upon fkl, this is precisely equal to the elasticity of output with respect to labor. Okay, so by rewriting the entire equation of the technological progress, what can we write here? The growth of output can be written as equal to growth rate of technology plus growth rate of capital times the elasticity of output with respect to capital plus growth of labor times elasticity of output with respect to labor. So this is the equation of growth accounting, and growth is attributed due to the technology, due to the change elasticity of output with respect to capital. What rate my output is changing with respect to capital times the growth rate in the capital, and the growth rate of labor times the elasticity of output with respect to labor. So this completes the chapter on production. I hope all the concepts are clear. So if there is any doubt, please post it in the comment box. Thank you. If you like the video, please like and subscribe.